Welcome to the Empowering Choices podcast. My name is Joshua.
I'm Lucas.
And I'm Eric.
Eric and Lucas are licensed professional counselors, and today we're going to talk about when you take too many pictures, like of your children, I guess.
I suppose one could potentially specify that, yeah.
I suppose that'd be helpful.
That would be helpful in a parenting podcast. And what do we mean by that? Too many pictures. Can you take too many pictures?
Yes.
Okay.
This would be opposed to the podcast that we had talked about. This was in the list of, what was it?
Yep.
Things parents regret. Right? So we had done a series on that, and there were parents who had expressed not having taken enough pictures, and we thought, well, isn't there an opposite problem over there, too, of people who take too many pictures? And the thing that I think of when I think of people who take too many pictures is it's like the people who are taking photos so that they can put them on their social media site, right? Yeah. At least that's the thing I think of. Obviously, there's variations and not just
the people who do it for the gram, as they say.
Oh, that just makes me cringe when you say it that way, Josh. That's gross.
Well, let me tell you, I was personally impacted by this, I feel, actually, now that we're talking about it. My wife had said, can we go to these flower farms? And I'm like, what flower farms? She's like, the Pinier flowers or something. I don't know much about. I'm like, okay, I don't want to go. So then one weekend, it's like all my friends from work are going. I'm like, let's not. Then the next weekend, my friends from work going, let's not. Well, anyway, somehow the next weekend we ended up eating at a place, and she's like, I just realized this is only 2 minutes from the farm.
From the thing.
Yeah. So we go there, and I'm like, why are we here? And it was okay, and there was like a place with flowers, but the farm at this point had like kind of gotten run down because I think it was like later in the season. But she's like, oh, let's go way over there. Look at those pretty ones. And I'm like, why are we going way over there? Anyways, we go over there, and she's like telling my son, like, oh, smell the flower, and she's taking these pictures. And so I said, you came out here to get a picture of our son smelling these flowers just like all your friends, and that's really why we're here. She's like, well, kind of. So,
right, you're like, ding.
So see, I was a victim. I was
a victim.
Yeah, I was a victim of too many photos.
Now, was it too many, or was it we're going to go out of our way for a photo?
That probably was more it.
Yeah,
yes.
And so I don't know if that's like too many per se.
Right.
It's just kind of like, why am I taking them?
Right. And I guess when I think about too many, I have seen the parents who especially who go to an event and the whole time they're just, you know.
Gosh. Did it come with that noise too?
It does. Maybe. I don't know. I don't get that close, but that's what I envision in my head.
And it's kind of like that. We're kind of talking about the parent that is like, oh, hey, do you want to go over there and get that dinner? Oh, here, wait, let me take a shot. Click. Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, you need your drink. Oh, here, wait, let me take a shot. Click.
Yep.
Or, oh, you look so cute together. 5 minutes later, here, let me take a shot. Click. And so every movement is being kind of documented, by the photos.
Yeah.
It's, old school is that if, somebody suddenly decides that they want to be a photographer and want to have a career in that, so they're taking a picture of every single thing they possibly can. But now it's, kind of a parent who just wants to save every moment. We do have all these social media pieces like you were talking about, Lucas, and, a good percentage are going to wind up on there. But it's not necessarily going to be quite that way. They just may have them in their camera and want to save them forever. And this is where you get the junior hires of the teenagers going, Mom, Dad, stop. Or traditionally prom pictures that happen at the house, like a million of them.
Right.
Before you can even leave. And now it's just all over in life. Taking a picture of this, taking a picture of that, documenting everything we're doing rather than just doing it.
Right.
I think that's probably the feature that is what you would want to lean into is like, why is this a problem? Because you were saying instead of just doing.
Right.
Because yes, document things, that's good. But if all you're doing is documenting, you're not really present for the thing that's actually happening.
Right. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I love photos. Sure. I'm a professional photographer. However, there's a time where it's like, oh, I can see the perfect shot here. Or I can just be perfectly present here. And that's what the parents were regretting.
Yeah, and I think obviously this is an extreme example, but like there was a controversy over a YouTuber who, what people do is when they record these videos, they will try to get a moment to get the thumbnail. And so she had coaxed her son in on this thumbnail, and she's like, pretend like you're crying, like you're upset, and the kid is like, but mommy, I am actually upset. It's like their dog had died or something. Well, she made the mistake of accidentally uploading that piece, and then clip. Everybody saw that she that is putting her child through that, and it's all for a photo to then be on a thing. And so that's obviously like your extreme example. And then you come down to all the way what we're talking about is just people who take and take and take. And I remember as a child being posed and get with your cousins, and now this and now this, and now we need the uncles in there now that, and it's just like, I just want to play. Like, can I do something else? And so,
and those are kind of the times where you kind of expect that pictures are going to happen.
Yeah.
And, the family events and the, barbecues and picnics. And I mean, as soon as they roll out the camera, I'm like, bathroom.
when you're not behind it.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm rarely ever taking pictures at those kinds of events. That's not my thing.
Right. I think you can actually kind of do both. Here's my proposal.
I was just going to say, lay it on me, Josh.
Okay. So here's what I do. Because I love photos. I love remembering things, but I also don't like missing the moment. And I also like, being present. So what I do, for instance, for Christmas this year, I pulled out, took some photos, blah, blah, blah. But I actually just set up a 360 cam, hung it from the ceiling in the living room, and recorded the Christmas. Now, my mom used to set up a video camera, and it was like, open this in front of there and everything, and it was all awkward because, now things rolling.
Go in front of the camera.
And then if I would say something or get a little testy, don't talk that way in front of the camera.
This is being recorded.
Yeah, this is being recorded.
Don't talk that way in front of the camera. As though you're going to offend its sensibilities.
Right.
So Josh goes behind the camera to throw attitude.
There you go. Right. Yeah. So we put that there. No one even remembered it was going. And then I captured that. I didn't take photos. I didn't have to deal with it. And then I have it. And it's like a memory.
Then all you can see is the top of everyone's head.
Well, but you can move it around. You can move it around.
You said it was on the ceiling though, right?
Yeah. But it was kind of low. We have a low ceiling. It worked out. But basically, whether it's that, and then the other thing that I like doing is I will take pictures of my son while he's playing, but I will not say, freeze, stay there, wait, don't go down the slide yet. I just take the pictures and just let it be, and it is what it is.
There's a dynamic of taking pictures that I run into with my kids is they know when you're taking a picture.
Right.
And it's like, like you're in the middle of doing something and I want to take a picture of you doing it. And as soon as they see the camera, they start walking towards me to come see what's on the screen so that they can see the picture that I haven't even taken yet.
Right.
And it's like, kid, like I can't, there is no picture yet.
Yeah.
You moved as soon as I got the camera out so that you could see the picture, but you moved to, like, there's no picture now.
Which that is a funny thing. Because I mean, when I was a kid, it was like, take the picture. There's nothing to see until it gets sent off to the place and comes back. And so, that is a new dynamic.
On the roll of film in a...
Yeah.
So it is kind of a newer piece. There's different ways that you could kind of plan to do these things. Because I think you're right. I think there can be a combination of both.
Yeah.
And then, if you're going, let's say you're going to the beach for the day and you're taking your family, if you arrange it with your wife, your husband, even some of your older kids, that at different times when one parent may be engaged doing something, maybe you're flying kites or playing Frisbee on the beach, the other parent may be kind of taking pictures of how that's going, and then it switches. And if you have an older, a teenager who doesn't mind taking some pictures every now and then, you can get the whole moment captured. And you could actually, even down, because a lot of grade schoolers have cameras as well, so if you have it just kind of in the family system that every once in a while somebody takes some pictures, now you're going to have a variety of different perspectives
right,
from the exact same situation. I remember when I was paid to do a wedding, I turned around to move because I was on one side of the church up close to, where the couple were staged up there. And I turned to move and there was a little girl behind me and she had a camera.
Oh, funny.
And I'm like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And she quickly disappeared. And then her mom approached me later because I knew who her mom was and said, hey, can my daughter follow you around? She wants to be a photographer.
Nice.
I'm like, this is awesome. I've never had this before. And so, she would just follow me around. I'd take some pictures, then I'd set her up. She'd take some other pictures. They said later on that she had some of the most unique candid photos of the wedding and of the people in the wedding and in the audience that anybody had ever seen.
Yeah.
And so you can incorporate that to where it's more family members that are taking pictures.
Right.
So it's not just one parent that's just solely being absorbed in taking pictures.
Right. Yeah. And this may be controversial to some, but I really think the weddings where they don't take an hour of let's take all these pictures versus getting more of just
I can tell you
what's happening and all of that.
I was going to say Eric has lots of experience with that.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I enjoy those better. And I don't know how many people get out those things and like, oh, well, let's look at the picture where we only had the ants of the whatever with this person and that. Like those are like not, I don't know. People don't hang those on their wall.
They don't generally. The reason why you have so much time with a photographer, especially with the wedding group, is the photographer is looking for the award-winning shot. And they're more...
And they're going to get it with the ants on the bride side?
Not necessarily. So it's more the wedding party in that. But they're such a artist photographer that when it comes down to the family members, it doesn't stop. Yeah. So they're going to be, placing them as well because you never know. You really could get an award-winning shot, in there.
How many award-winning shots are there from wedding photographers?
Depends on the photographer, and it depends on what they tell you about their shots. Yes, I totally agree. That's why I didn't do it that way.
Best shot of uncles at an outdoor wedding category.
Right.
Yeah.
Category.
Right. And really, it's more the wedding party that they're going to really get meticulous on. And so then they might even use up all their time. So when it comes to family, they're just rushing them in and out really quickly. My whole gist was, let's have fun.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to learn people's names. I was trying to do different setups. I'm not doing my sculpting right there. I had a book of different poses and I would flip back and forth at different times. And then I would be like, hey, let's do this and this and this and this and this, and never give it a lot of time.
Yeah.
But people had a lot of fun, and so I think that's where these parents are regretting it, is that so much may have gone into the artistry of the photos in those family events that they forgot about having fun.
Right.
And maybe created some of that same pain that professional wedding photographers create. Sorry, Jess, I know you're listening and you are wonderful as a photographer as well. But it's not, that pain doesn't have to exist there.
Right.
And it takes away from just the fun of the moment.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, some of the ridiculousness of it may be, we're going to the beach, kids. It's going to be fun. But actually, I need you all to dress up and wear these things with tight buttons and all this, because I'm going to be getting these pictures. I mean, this is just my experience. I'm going to be getting these pictures.
This is real.
This is trauma recall.
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, but I was going to be flying a kite and running around doing stuff. And now I'm all in something that I'm sensitive. I'm just like, I don't want to wear this. But
that
you
sounds
wear
like
it for
the
the
bait
picture.
and switch from that cartoon that we watched of like, we're going to the food court, kids.
Right.
Except not. And you're going to have to put on shoes.
Exactly.
My parents never, ever put me through that because they knew the very moment that I hit the beach in whatever I was wearing, it would be body surfing,
right?
Simply so that I didn't have to do pictures.
Yeah.
Because it just messed the whole outfit up. And it's like, oh, okay,
Right.
where do you want me?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that the reality is that you in that outfit after it had gone body surfing would be the most realistic portrayal of you at that age. And they should have just taken a picture of you that way.
Nobody seemed to figure that out.
I mean, it's like, can you imagine having that picture?
It'd be awesome.
You know, from however many years ago of like, this is Erik after in his button-up shirt after having gone body surfing and covered in sand.
Right.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this was the way it was.
When I did sports action, high school team shots, you know, because it's a similar thing. You got to line everybody up and set everybody up and do these, you know, great shots. And
if you're doing like the pose, like this is the team. Yeah.
I would always then, as kind of a reward, go, now this next couple of pictures, strike any funny pose you want. And they would they were like, what? Really? You can? And at that time, nobody did that. No photographers did that. Yeah, it's more common now. And so, you know, I even have, you know, photos on my wall of some of those teams in funny shots.
Oh, and those are the ones you kept.
Those are some of the great ones that are there. And they loved it, you know. And some of the kids even got their parents to allow them to either order that one as their team photo or an additional one, you know, that they could have in their room.
Right.
And because who really wants like, yes, that is those are all their faces.
Right.
Congratulations.
It becomes traditional. And when it becomes traditional, then it's just another thing.
Right.
You know, and so make it fun was always, you know, my kind of a slant on everything.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that's why like the whole like forcing through something, like I think about there's entire websites devoted to pictures of kids crying with Santa or the Easter Bunny.
Oh God.
You know, that like the kid does not want to be doing this and somebody is like, no, you will. We are taking
have a picture with the Santa.
This, and they're just terrified.
Right.
But you do it for the, I guess back then it was, you know, they still do it, but I mean, I guess it wasn't for the gram. It was for like the mantle. You know, we're gonna have that picture of you with Santa on there.
It was more for the tradition.
Yeah,
to be honest, you went to the mall and you sat on Santa's lap, and that's what you did.
I want a Red Ryder BB gun,
right? And then you know you wanted as a kid to go up there because you wanted to state what it was you thought your parents may not get you. But and Santa hopes. Would get you, or you hoped your parents would get you. Maybe overhear you stating what you wanted that Santa would get you, and there'd be some pressure. But you didn't want to sit on his lap.
Yeah,
you know, some people did, some people didn't. I was one who didn't, and so there were pictures of me just standing next to Santa.
Standing next to Santa, you went, but
I went, but it was there that whole deliberation of. Why do I want to go and do this? He doesn't look like the guy on Miracle from 34th Street. He looks meaner. You know, he looks faker. You know.
No, as a kid, personally, I actually was like all for it. Like you could have probably had a guy who was dressed, who I don't know, who just came in from his smoke break and was whatever, and I would think, oh, it's Santa Claus. You know, I would go for anything.
You were in for it.
Any chance I could get something, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You knew what the end game was.
Right. Give me that. Even if I don't know, you seem kind of weird, smell funny, but I really want to get an electronics kit.
You seem weird and smell funny. Take me to Radio Shack.
Yeah, exactly. Just in case. Here's what I want.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Sometimes those pictures are more for parents than they ever are for the kid.
Yes.
And, you know, and that's kind of like, you know, even the JCPenney photo things or Walmart photo things.
Oh, like the photo booth in the mall? Not photo booth, but like the studio in the mall?
The studio in the mall.
Studio, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know there were times where it's like, you know, we want to get a family photo and, you know, my wife's like, what if he isn't going to behave? And I'm like, we don't get a photo.
You either get a photo of him not behaving or you don't get a photo. I mean,
right.
You know.
And I'm never big on the photos myself, but you know, you can have photos and have engagement.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of take a look at what you want the experience to be, and even just seeing because with all the phone. You know, cameras that are out there, seeing what everyone comes up with might be even a funner type of an album, whether it's on the computer or printed out or both. You know, those could be some really fun moments as well, reliving it.
Right. And I mean, if you make it fun and make it into something the kids actually enjoy, then that's going to be a better chance of both getting a photo and it not being a painful experience.
Right.
More like after you guys build that sandcastle, if you want to strike a funny pose with it, we'll take a fun photo, you know, to have. And then I do think, you know, a lot of this is about the not taking too many, but I do think some of the positive fun thing about technology and the way things are is now you can make it where these photos sync to your TV as like a screensaver.
Oh, exactly.
So you can get like way more mileage out of the trip you did to the beach because it's like you can remember it and the kids can see it and you can look at that. And then one of the fun things that we did this past Christmas, we got all of the grandparents a photo frame that's like a digital photo frame that hooked up to their Wi-Fi, and they all live in different places. And so what we do is we can remotely upload some photos to those photo frames, and then
really cool.
Yeah, and then they're able to see what's going on and just, you know, as they walk into their living room. So it's kind of like everything else. There's good and there's bad, and it sounds like it's like finding that balance.
Yeah. I think the photo frame's a super neat idea. I was just reflecting or thinking about that'd be really good for someone who's not necessarily technologically savvy and doesn't necessarily like log into their Facebook all the time.
Right.
It's like, oh, the photo frame updated.
Totally.
And it's just kind of like a hands-off, like the person who owns it doesn't have to be like the most engaged with it.
Like my dad, he's not on Facebook, but he's told me before, he loves walking in the living room and seeing there's a new photo.
Right, it's like it's cycling. Wait, I haven't seen that one before.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right.
You can take too few photos.
Yep.
And you can take too many photos. And try not to
annoy
a
happy medium.
And try not to annoy your kids on the way there.
Exactly.
You will annoy them a little bit, but
well, I mean, right.
You know.
I think try not to is maybe an okay sentence. Right.
Well,
if you're intentionally not trying to annoy them, if you know that your behavior is going to annoy them, but you've decided to do it anyway, I think that's a different conversation.
Sure, and there's avenues behind that. You know, it's kind of like you're trying to teach them how to eat healthy. You will annoy them by trying to get them to eat healthy.
Right.
You know,
absolutely. They will be annoyed by broccoli.
Yep. The happy balance is where it's at. So if you enjoyed this podcast, we'd appreciate it if you would give us a like or a thumbs up or whatever it is on the platform that you're watching. And then definitely go to the App Store, search Empowering Choices Parenting, and download our app. And we will see you on the next show.